every year, it was the weekend, either the weekend prior to or the weekend after the Masters. My friends and I would go to see the Heritage down at Hilton Head, the golf tournament. And we must have did this for 7 or 8 years in a row. My friend would have tickets from his bank to go and get in and be well accommodated. Well, it was just one year we went, and myself being a diabetic, I'm with 3 friends, and I had what was called a low blood sugar. Hadn't eaten that day yet, and I started getting dizzy, I started sweating, I started getting confused, which is not unusual for me. I mean, I don't have to have a low blood sugar to be confused, but on this day I was. So 2 of my friends went to get me something to drink, something that had sugar. My other friend stayed with me while they went to get something. And close to where we were standing was an empty golf cart, maybe 20 feet away. So my friend says, why don't you go sit in the golf cart and rest until the guys get back, which seemed like a real good idea to me. I said, thank you. I wasn't thinking very clearly, but that made good sense to me. So I go sit in the golf cart. I promise I was not in this golf cart 20 seconds, and somebody comes and says that they needed the golf cart, they had to take it to do something. So my friend, the one that was with me, he says, look, he said, my friend is a diabetic and he's not doing very well. Couldn't he just sit here until the other guys come back with a sugar drink? So the guy whose golf cart it was, he looked at me, he says, you're a diabetic, huh? I went, yeah. He said, well, where's your sugar in case you have a low sugar reaction like you just having? And I went, I didn't bring anything. Now, I was not feeling very good. I was dizzy, I was confused, I was sweating, nothing about me was feeling good, you know. However, what was about to happen made me feel even worse. He says, you know what I think? I didn't want to tell him, I didn't really care what he thought, but to be polite, I said, well, what do you think? He says, you're a diabetic. I went, yeah. He says, you don't have sugar. I went, that's correct. He said, I think you're an idiot to be a diabetic, not have sugar in case of an emergency. Which did not make me feel very good. However true it was. That did not help my situation. However, the guy was a nice guy. He himself said he was a diabetic, and he always carries sugar drinks with him. So he had a bottle of Gatorade, which he had in his knapsack, which he took out and threw to me. And he said, please do not go anywhere without a sugar drink with you next time. And I thanked him so much. He said, now, if you don't mind, I need to take the cut. So I said, okay. So I get out of the golf cart with the drink. And then he did the craziest thing. He's supposed to go forward. For whatever reason, he put it in reverse. It wouldn't be a problem, except I had my foot under the back wheel. I thought he was going forward. So he backs up over my foot. And I promise I wanted to scream, but I was about ready to say something like, he was on it and off it. And I yanked my foot out. I went, oh no. My friend said, what just happened? I said, he ran my foot over. He said, are you serious? I went, yes. So, didn't think much about it after that. My friends come back, what seemed like an eternity afterwards, with the soda, of which I already had my Gatorade, so I didn't even need it. Well, after the tournament that day, we go back to the condominium a mile or two away, and we're watching we're watching the news on TV. So I take my shoes off, I take my socks off. And one of the guys that I'm with just happens to be my doctor. So I said, Doc, I said, don't I have 10 hammer toes? He said, yeah, you have 10 hammer toes. I said, you need to take a look here, because I'm only looking at 5 hammer toes, and the other hammer toes are all straight. Well, wouldn't you think that the foot that he backed up over flattened all my toes out? They were all black and blue, but they were all straight, which we all thought was very crazy. And wouldn't you know, for the next 2 days, because my buddy, he says, it costs a lot of money to get toes straightened out. So all 3 of my friends were looking for this guy with the golf cart to back up over my other foot so I would have 10 normal toes instead of 5 normal and 5 hammers. Never did find them, which I'm not sorry about. It was very painful. Very painful, but not as painful as if I'd have them, I suppose, have them surgically straightened, which really was never even a consideration. I've never thought to have any of my toes straightened. It just happened to be accidentally straightened. So what do I say? I say thank you. Even though it wasn't going to be that way, but I say thank you. And we had a good rest of the weekend with 5 hammer toes and 5 normal toes. Who would have thunk it? God bless you. Speak soon.